The Galactic Council's war chamber fell silent as Admiral Zekthor's tentacles trembled with barely contained fury. The holographic display before them showed something impossible: the complete destruction of the 7th Fleet, wiped out in less than 2 standard cycles by a single human naval formation. "This cannot be accurate," Zekthor hissed, his translator struggling with the inflection of disbelief. "Our fleet had numerical superiority, technological parity, and tactical positioning." "How?" Commander Vril, a 4-armed Kethna veteran of a dozen campaigns, stepped forward. Her armor still bore scorch marks from her escape pod's emergency landing. "Admiral, I was there. What the humans did, it defies every principle of naval warfare we've ever known." The display flickered, showing the battle's opening moments. The human fleet, commanded by one Adonis Alice, had positioned itself in what any tactician would call a suicide formation. Ships spread thin across a debris field near the Helios expanse. "They used the debris?" asked Counselor Fex, his crystalline body refracting the light in patterns of confusion. "No, Counselor," Vril replied, her voice hollow. "They became the debris." The recording showed the human vessels powering down their main systems, drifting cold and dark among the asteroids and wreckage of an ancient battle. The 7th Fleet had approached confidently, sensors reading nothing but lifeless hulks and stellar garbage. "Standard protocol," Zekthor muttered. "We scanned for power signatures, weapons heat, drive emissions. There was nothing." "Because humans don't think like we do," Vril continued. "While we searched for active threats, they floated in powered-down ships, their crews in stasis, waiting. For 17 hours, Admiral. 17 hours in the cold void, trusting their systems would revive them at the precise moment needed." The display accelerated. The 7th Fleet had moved into the debris field, confident in their superiority. Then, as if awakening from death itself, the human ships blazed to life. But what happened next violated every tactical doctrine in the Galactic Archive. "They fired backward," Fex observed, his tone suggesting the observation of madness. While accelerating forward, Vril confirmed. "Their ships broke formation immediately. No pattern, no coordination we could detect. Each vessel moved independently, executing what appeared to be random vectors. Our targeting systems couldn't predict them, because there was nothing to predict. They weren't following doctrine. They weren't following any recognizable pattern at all." Zekthor's tentacles coiled tighter. "Chaos is not a strategy, isn't it?" The voice came from the chamber's entrance. A human liaison officer stepped forward. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Chen, assigned to the Council after the war's outbreak. "May I?" Zekthor gestured reluctantly. The human approached the display, her movements economical and precise. "What you saw wasn't chaos," Chen explained. "It was something we call initiative-based tactics. Each ship's captain is empowered to make split-second decisions without waiting for orders. Admiral Alice doesn't command her fleet like you do, she unleashes it." "Madness," Zekthor breathed. "Evolution," Chen corrected. Humans spent millennia fighting on water. Vast, unpredictable oceans where communication was limited and conditions changed moment by moment. Our naval commanders learned to trust their subordinates, to adapt faster than any central command structure could manage. When we reached space, we brought those lessons with us." Vril's mandibles clicked in agitation. "But the precision of their strikes, the coordination, comes from training, not central control. Admiral Alice's crews have worked together for years. They don't need orders because they understand the intent. She communicated her objective, and each captain determined how to achieve it within their tactical sphere." The display showed the human ships moving through the 7th Fleet like predators among prey. They didn't just fire weapons, they used their ships as weapons, executing maneuvers that would have torn apart any other vessel. Extreme velocity changes, gravitational slingshots around asteroids, even ramming attacks at angles that should have been suicidal, but somehow worked. And this? Zekthor highlighted a moment where 3 human destroyers had linked together briefly, creating a combined weapons platform that had devastated a Council battlecruiser before separating again. Chen smiled. "Improvisation. Probably Commander Zhao's idea. He served on submarine crews before space assignment. Sometimes in the middle of combat you just try something." "You try something?" Fex's crystalline structure vibrated with incredulity. "In the midst of battle? Without simulation? Without approval from command? That's war," Chen said simply. "At least that's war the way humans fight it. You can't plan for every contingency. Sometimes you have to trust your training, your instincts, and your crew." Zekthor studied the human carefully. You're Admiral Alice. She allows this? Encourages it. Demands it. She says a naval officer who only follows orders is just a very expensive communications relay. Her job isn't to make every decision. It's to ensure her people are prepared to make the right decisions when she can't. The chamber fell silent as the implications settled over the council members. Their entire military philosophy was built on hierarchy, precision, and adherence to doctrine. The humans had won not despite their apparent disorder, but because of it. There's something else you should know, Vril said quietly. When our command ship was crippled, we expected no quarter. Instead, Admiral Alice personally led the boarding party that secured our bridge. She had us moved to medical facilities before we'd even surrendered. When I asked why, she said, Vril's translator hesitated. She said, we're fighting to win, not to be monsters. Chen nodded. Admiral Alice has a saying, perfect tactics can win battles, but humanity wins wars. She means that war isn't just about destruction. It's about the will to fight and the reason for fighting. Show mercy when you can, ferocity when you must, and never forget that your enemy today might need to be your ally tomorrow. Zekthor's tentacles loosened slightly. So we weren't incompetent. We were simply different. You were predictable, Chen corrected gently. Your tactics are flawless if both sides play by the same rules. But humans learned long ago that survival sometimes means breaking the rules entirely. Not through disorder, but through organized chaos. Controlled fury guided by purpose. The Admiral stared at the frozen display showing Adonis Alice's flagship, its hull scarred but triumphant. Then we have a choice. Adapt or surrender. Or, Chen offered, you could consider a third option. Admiral Alice once told me that the best battles are the ones never fought. Perhaps it's time we talked about peace. Zekthor looked at his fellow council members, seeing the same realization dawning on each face. They had challenged humans at Naval Warfare, the one domain where humanity's greatest strengths aligned perfectly with the demands of combat, adaptability, initiative, the controlled chaos of independent thinking united by common purpose. Contact Admiral Alice, Zekthor said finally. Inform her the council wishes to discuss terms. And Commander Chen? He paused. Thank her for the lesson. In tactics and in mercy. As the human liaison departed, Vril approached her commander. Do you think they planned this? To teach us rather than simply destroy us? Zekthor watched the display one more time, studying the pattern that was no pattern, the chaos that was somehow order. I think, Commander, that humans don't separate teaching from fighting. Every battle is a lesson. The question is whether we're wise enough to learn it. Outside the war chamber, Adonis Alice received the council's message aboard her flagship. She smiled, keyed off the display, and looked out at the stars. War was terrible, but it had served its purpose, showing the council that humanity deserved respect, not as conquerors but as equals who fought differently, thought differently, and won differently. Sometimes, she reflected, the best victory was the one that ended with everyone still alive to learn from it. The end.